Hi, I'm George Howell from the George Howell Coffee Company, and I want to talk a little bit about the packaging and freshness of coffee. And that starts at the supermarket or the specialty shop. It could be a cheese shop or a specialty coffee shop. And you will see several possibilities in front of you. The first thing you might see are big coffee bins. Plastic, typically, where you see the beans actually in the bins themselves. I have to say that my old company, the Coffee Connection, we had bins like that too. They were actually in barrels or bins, and we would shovel out the coffees. And until recently, I really believed in that. You get the smell, it has a great feel to it, and it's great marketing on top of that. But I have now started to shy away from that because as you get into higher and higher qualities, farms, single estates, what you find is that it can just take a few days, especially hours, when you've got the beans just exposed to the air continuously like that, and you're going to lose something in that process. So better, in my opinion, to skip the bins, even though they look like they're the best thing to get and they're less expensive because you're not paying for the packaging, and go to a bag. So if you go to the bags, you have, again, several choices there. The one to really look for is a one-way valve bag. And you're going to find this valve at the top. It's not easy to see, but it will be there. So look for that. And what that one-way valve does is it allows fresh coffee to release all the carbon dioxide that is pouring out of those fresh beans. Once you've roasted coffee, that carbon dioxide's got to go out one way or another. If I were to put fresh coffee in even a metal can, it would blow up if there's no escape valve. So that's the one-way valve. It lets that go out, but it's a one-way valve because it lets no oxygen come in. So you want to avoid, essentially, in my opinion, unless it has a roast date telling you that it's that fresh, 2 or 3 days, 4 days, that's it. A bag like this, brown, typically, but it could be colored as well, with no valve at all. This affords very little protection, and the coffee is getting stale much faster. If it's a couple of days old, 3, no problem. I think you'll do very well. But as you go towards a week, it gets much worse. But be careful, brown doesn't mean always bad. You can have brown bags that do have a one-way valve. So always look for that valve. When you take these one-way valve bags home with you, always stand them up. CO2 is heavier than oxygen, carbon dioxide, and it will sink. Any oxygen in it will go up, and that will be forced out the one-way valve and stay away from your beans. So always, when you're buying coffee, also make sure it's not lying down. Make sure the coffee is standing straight up. Big point. You can also find cans that have the same one-way valve concept that you really want to look for. This is an example of that. You can look at the bottom or the top, and if you find a little patch like this, it is operating as a one-way valve. This little piece here is just simply to tear off the cover that makes it airtight. So, and then of course in the specialty realm as well, you get capsule coffee like this. This is a problem that is shared with also bags of coffee that you'll see typically in supermarkets where the coffee's been ground for you. 1, you can't choose your grind, and 2, as well, coffee that has been ground, you have vastly more coffee now exposed to air. Imagine brewing coffee beans in hot water. You might as well wait 12 hours with boiling water and maybe you're going to get something. As you grind it finer and finer, more and more releases itself immediately. So again, this is headed towards a certain staleness. You can get okay coffee on the run, but you're not going to get the sweetness and especially the body that can be so great in a really specialty coffee. For that, you really want whole beans, and you want to grind it when you're going to brew it. Freshness is absolutely key. So, and last thing is, you will look for the roast date. If you go to supermarkets, cheese shops, and so on, really check the roast date out. A lot of companies in the specialty business will have a 1-year plus date, and it'll read good until such and such a date. You have no idea. It could be 9 months, 10 months old. Studies have shown that the carbon dioxide in a coffee is completely gone by about 90 days in a good one-way valve. After that, it's staling ahead, and it just gets worse and worse. I would say you want to have it no older than 60 days, and a lot of people would say, oh, you're kidding, 30 days, less. We need to do more studies, but that's my recommendation on that level. Once you've opened your bag of fresh whole bean coffee, what do you do with it? How do you store that coffee is a critical point. It's going to now start the staling process in an accelerated fashion. If you're going to be brewing it only over the next 3 days or so, you should be pretty fine. Just keep it in a cool, not too humid area, good relative humidity, and you should be fine. But if you're going to hold it, especially longer than 5 days, you really need to consider holding it in a better way than that. And I would say freezing is the best method. Refrigeration involves too much condensation back and forth. So freezing, you get greater stability with the coffee. And I would propose one trying to lock it in as much as possible, push all the air out, put it in Ziploc bags or something along those lines as well. And if you're crazy like I am, a real fanatic, you put them in every day's brew is put in a separate baggie, if you will, and tightened that way. And then you just need that amount. There are other methods that are coming up, canisters now, that really may be much better than that. The jury is still out, but to give you 2 examples, we have 2 here that we're looking at, and they both involve creating vacuums inside, and also this one has a one-way valve, so it lets the carbon dioxide release. So the idea here would be that every day you would open it once, take out your beans, and then reclose it. Again, the jury is out, but this is certainly something worth perhaps your checking out as well. Thank you very much.